Math, 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 math.
Alright guys, sorry for the background noise. There's a lot of classes going on, so it's got a little louder, so we're going to keep going. So this question says, find the slope of a line passing through -3, -7, and -2, -4. Find the equation for B algebraically, and then graph the line. Well, first thing we got to do, we can do this whatever way we want. Let's make our lives easy. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is our A, and B is -2, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is our B, and we can already graph our line. And we're good. Okay, so we got our line graphed. Now, it says find the slope. We have two sets of coordinates, so let's go and do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and just choose y2, y1, x2, x1. It doesn't matter which y you choose, you're going to get the same answer. Okay, so we're going to do -7, so a equals -7 minus -4 over -3 minus -2. -2, a negative and a negative make a positive on both accounts. So we're going to have a is equal to -3 over -1, and we know that a negative and a negative make a positive. So right now our rule is y equals 3x plus b. Now we've done the slope, because this part is the slope. We've graphed our line. Now it says find what b is. Well, it looks like this is where it goes through the line at 0, 2. But we can't be sure because sometimes our graphs are a little bit off, which is why we're going to do it algebraically. So we pick our two coordinates here. So let's just say we take A. So if -7 is our y, we're just going to go and replace y with -7. And if -3 is our x, we're just going to replace with -3 and start to solve. 3 times -3 is -9. We need to get rid of this -9, so we'll add 9 because we need to bring it over to the other side. Whatever we do to one side, we do to the other. These cancel each other out because -9 plus 9 equals 0. B just equals 2. So now we can say y equals 3x plus 2, and we can even check it. So when x is -3, y equals 3 times -3 plus 2. Here we'll have y equals -9 plus 2, which is going to give us y is equal to -7. When we have -3, we have -7. Oh, look, we did it right. Move on. So find the equation of a line. Here we don't have anything, so we have to do it algebraically. Okay? So all we're going to do, same thing that we did before, we're going to decide, and just to show you guys that it doesn't matter the order, we'll make this our y2 and this our y1, this our x2 and this our x1. So we have y equals ax plus b. A is equal to, so we take our y2, 9 minus 3 over 2 minus 3, which is going to give us a is equal to 6 over -1, which is the same thing as us saying a is equal to -6. So now we have our rule as y equals -6x plus b. And again, just going to substitute. So here my y is a 3, so I'll replace my y with a 3. Here my x was also a 3, replace with a 3, and just start solving. So -6 times 3 is -18 plus b. Add 18 to both sides, and we have b is equal to 21. And then we can check our rule, because now we can say our rule is y is equal to -6x plus 21. So if we decide to check our rule, we can go and just say, all right, let's see what happens when we have 3 for our x. So we take this 3 and we substitute it in. So y equals -6 times 3. So -6 times 3 plus 21. y equals negative 18 plus 21, which will give us, so when x is 3, y is 3, which is what we have. Good? We're going to keep going. So if we need to find the equation of the line for the following graph, well, if we look, this is going by 2, 2.53, 3.54, so each time it's going by 0.5. Okay? So let's actually set up a really quick table to make our lives a little bit easier. So we have our x, y. When x is 0, y is negative 7. When x is 1, y is negative 7. When it's 2, it's negative 7. So we can see right away. Now our x column is going up by 1 each time, and our y column is going up by nothing. Okay? So if we go, same thing, y equals ax plus b, and we do the change in y, so for a, change in y, which is 0, over the change in x, which is 1, a is equal to 0. And when x is 0, y is negative 7. So we can say b is equal to negative 7. Now if we plug that into our rule, y equals 0x minus 7, 0 times any number, 0 times 1 is 0, 0 times 2 is 0, 0 times 2000 is 0. 0 times x is going to give us 0. So our rule is just going to be y equals negative 7. Okay, so keep going with the homework. Okay, so here it says find the equation of the line passing through the graph negative 6, negative 8, and 8, 1. Alright, so if we go and say here is 4, 4.55, 5.56, here's 6. So here's negative 6, 8. And here we have 8. Well, this isn't an 8 and 1. So technically, we could do the rise over run. We could count, but you can see how small the squares are. We're going to go blind. So we just do our rule, y2, y1, x2, x1. We know our rule is going to be y equals ax plus b because this is clearly a partial linear function. So all we need to do, y equals 8, sorry guys, a equals, because we need to find our rate of change, 8 minus 1 over negative 6 minus 8. This is going to give us 7 over negative 14, which is the same thing as negative 1 over negative half or negative 0.5. Once we're done that, we do what we did before. We know right now our rule is y is equal to negative 0.5 or negative a half x plus b. Substitute in our x. So we'll use this, negative 6. Substitute in our y, which is 8. Negative 0.5 times negative 6 is going to give us positive 3 plus b. We need to isolate b, subtract 3 from both sides. 8 minus 3 is 5. B is equal to 5, so we know our rule is going to be y equals 0.5 x. So negative 0.5 x plus 5. And if we look, when x is 0, y is 5. So we figured it out. We're going to keep going. It says find the equation of the line through point negative 3, 14, and with initial value of negative 4, make a table of values for the first 3 points. Alright. So here's the thing. Initial value is negative 4, and we have 3, 14. So we can go and say, here's the sneaky thing for us. We can make a graph, or we can go and say if our initial value is just negative 4, when x is 0, y is negative 4. So we can say that this is this coordinate. We now have 2 sets of coordinates, and we can still do y equals ax plus b. y2, y1, x2, x1, and keep going. Okay? So we said y2 is negative 14, so a is equal to negative 14 minus negative 4 over x2, which is negative 3, minus 0. So we're still going to end up with negative 3 minus 0. We'll have negative 10 over negative 3, and a negative is a positive, so we have a equals 10 over 3. Now this is our slope, y equals 10 over 3x. But they already told us that our initial value, when x is 0, y is minus 4. So we have everything we need to write the rule. So if we decide to turn 10 over 3 into a decimal, does that come to a neat decimal? It's 3.333 repeating. Alright, so all we're going to do is, okay, so when x is 0, y is going to be negative 4. 10 third times 0 is 0, minus 4, we're left with 0, negative 4. When we have 1, we have negative 4. Well, here, we'll do it algebraically now. Same thing. So if we have this same setup, when we have 1, y equals 10 over 3 times 1 minus 4. So 10 over 3 times 1 minus 4 is going to give us negative 0.6 repeating. And if we were to do it again, y equals 10 over 3 times 2 minus 4. So if we do that same thing, so 10 over 3 is 3.3 repeating times 2 minus 4, we end up with 2.6 repeating. And that's it. Alright? Cool. Okay, so let's do the same thing here. Find the slope. So we'll call this y2, y1, x2, x1. All they're asking for is the slope. All they want. So y2, 12 minus 13 over negative 7 minus 8, negative 7 minus negative 8, 12 minus 13, so this is still our a, in our rule y equals ax. All they want is the slope, so that's all we have to do. 12 minus 13 is 1. Sorry, negative 1. 12 minus 13 is negative 1. And negative 7 plus 8 is 1. So in this case, our slope is y is equal to negative 1x, or negative x. That's it. That's all we need to do. Complete the table of values and graph the line. Really, guys? We've done this before. We should be okay. Alright, guys. So to complete the table of values and graph the line. Well, this one's pretty straightforward. So we can look, we have our rule already. So we know that when x is 0, y is going to be 4. And then we do our rise over run. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. We now have our line. And theoretically, actually not theoretically, in reality, we can pretty much go from there. So if we look, we can already say when x is, so let's say 0, 1, 2, 3, when x is 0, y is going to be 4. When we have 1, doesn't quite line up, so let's just go and figure that out. So y equals negative 3 over 2 times 1 plus 4. So if we do 3 over 2, which is going to give us 1.5, so we have negative 1.5. So y equals negative 1.5. We already figured out that it's 4. So negative 1.5 plus 4 is going to give us 2.5. So when x is 1, we know that this is going to be 2.5. And then we know if we keep going, subtract 1.5 again, we're going to have 1, because when x is 2, y is 1. And when we have 3, so if we do 1 minus 1.5, we're going to have, here's 3, negative 0.5. So there we go, we just graphed the line. Same thing for 10. Here it's written 4x plus 6 equals y, which is the same thing as y equals 4x plus 6. So same thing, 0, 6. When x is 0, y is 6, and then we do rise, 1, 2, 3, 4, overrun, and we can see that our line is going to go just like that. Same thing, 0, 1, 2, 3. Well, we can say when x is 0, y is going to be 6. When x is 1, so if we do y equals 4 times 1 plus 6, we know 1 is going to be 10. Now we're off the graph, so we actually have to start doing it ourselves. So if we do y equals 4 times 2 plus 6, 8 plus 6 is going to give us 14. And if we do y equals 4 times 3 plus 6, 4 times 3 is 12. Plus 6 is going to give us 18. And we can see each time it's going up by 4. We've done it. That's it. Now here it's saying state whether it's a function or not. Just write yes or no. Well, we said when we're looking at things, for it to be a function, for every x, there can be at most one y. And we also said the vertical line test. So right off the bat, let's just do the vertical line test for this one. So for every x, this line only passes through one time. So is a function? Yes. Now if we look at b, if we take our line, oh look, it passes through more than 2 spots of our line. So this is not a function. For every x, there can be at most one y. Well, we have 0, 1, 4, 6, negative 7, 1. Uh-oh. We have 2 numbers that are the same. So 1 is 3 and negative 3, which means that we have 2 points, which means that this is not a function. Here, we know that any rule, 9x plus 3, is going to be, well, we can say it's a partial variation. So if we said this is plus 3 and it's going up like that, we can see that the line will only go through once. So yes, it's a function. This we can see if this is our Cartesian plane. We have negative 100. That's going to be our negative 100. Only one line will pass through, so yes, it's going to be a function. And if we look here, for each x, there is at most one y. Yes, it's a function. So I hope this helps you guys with the homework. Use this to study. The test is going to look really similar. That's it. I'll see you later.